The second game of Rugby Championship 2018 has seen the Springboks take down Argentina 34 points to 21. It was a bit of a tit-for-tat game. Unlike the first one with the All Blacks, there was kind of one lead change. This one had two lead changes. Made it a bit of, I guess, a bit of drama in this one. And overall, for a guy who got up at like 3 in the morning to watch it, not disappointed, which is always a good sign. I mean, the game started off, Lineout got a try for the Springboks pretty early on. It was only about 7 minutes. I mean, Malcolm Marx had a turnover within 2 minutes, and he'd thrown a knot straight within 4 minutes. So, as much as I rave about Malcolm Marx, the line-up throwing probably is his one, like, kind of Achilles heel. If he can nail that, then he's basically the perfect player. But, yeah, Springboks, a lot of ball early on. First half, very much Springboks in terms of their position and territory. First half was 62-38 in terms of possession, and then 71-29 for territory to the Springboks. And those numbers probably actually edged their way towards Argentina in the latter stages of the first half. But, I mean, it was a lot of Springbok hands on the ball in the first half. Like I said, got the first try, missed the conversion from Pollard. He did not have a good night with the boot. He was kicking at 29%, which in a closer game is going to be very costly. Off night for him. I mean, we all know he's a much better kicker than that, but he must have been getting a bit frustrated because, I mean, look at the try scorers. You got Dianti got 2, Mapimpi got 2, and de Klerk got 1. So Pollard did have a fair few kicks from the sideline. They weren't doing him any favours by scoring under the sticks. But, yeah, you still expect him to slot at a much higher rate than 29. In the end, it didn't matter. But, like I said, in other weeks, it will. So he needs to get that right. Yeah, Argentina hit back despite having not a whole lot of ball. Sanchez got a try when LaRue couldn't take a high ball. Matera got a try from a breakdown turnover. All of a sudden, it's 14-5 to Argentina, despite having very little ball. And it's game on, man. It's, you know, the Springboks are knocking at the door, and then conceding points. As a fan, it's one of those really frustrating ones where you see your team, they're doing everything but scoring, and then when the other team gets the ball, they're just scoring. So, kind of concerning times if you're a Springboks fan at that time. Encouraging for the Pumas. But obviously, that was kind of only, 20-odd minutes, so there was still a lot of time to play. Dianti got a try from a LaRue cross kick. Again, Pollard missed the conversion, so it was 14-10 at halftime. Both these games, the losing team has taken in a lead to halftime. Kind of interesting, though, in the differences in that Australia seem to use all their energy in that first half, whereas Argentina probably actually had a bit more, possession and territory in the second half, but not able to do as much with it. Like in the first half, they had less and were able to do more. It's one of those weird ones. Both sides defensively pretty sound in that first half, tackling each of them at 88%, so that's a very respectable number, pretty high. Most coaches would be pretty happy with that. South African lineout, though, was at 72%. This is what I'm talking about. Some of those errors, when this box were turning down 3 points, obviously there was the game plan that they're going to go for tries. If you're going to do that, you need to get that lineout throw right. If you're going to kick for touch, the line-out is kind of a must. So if there's a work on, it is that. Second half, very early on, Dianti scores another try from a Faf de Klerk kick. So it's guys finding space, kind of smart tactics from the box. Take a lead, 17-14. Mapimpi gets a try. Again, conversion is missed. Mapimpi gets another try. Dianti not selfish at all. He passed when he probably could have gone in and scored. So good on him. I mean, he probably would have taken a half tackle if he'd gone himself, but he just let Mapimpi go in kind of untouched to give Pollard a slightly further out kick to try and get, which he missed. And Moroni got an intercept kind of later on, which brought the Argentinians, because Pollard wasn't getting these kicks, it brought the Argentinians back within striking distance. It was kind of game on, 27-21. But then Faf de Klerk got his try at the end and kind of pulled it beyond them, and it was kind of out of touch. So, yeah, there were a few kind of interesting things. I mean, the Argentinian line speed was something to be reckoned with for the box, and the breakdown work was an area where the Argentinians were really getting a lot of pace. Sometimes the box not a bit guilty of not looking after their own ball, especially in that first half when they had all that possession and all that territory. Damian Willems had got a decent amount of game time. He came on at 60 odd minutes, and interestingly, he got on at 10. He wasn't on at 15. So Pollard shifted back to 12, which is kind of a position I wouldn't mind seeing him play a little bit more. But, I mean, Willems did kick one out on the full, but overall he didn't do anything too bad. He didn't have enough time to really set his kind of stamp on things, but I'm still pretty happy with what I saw from him. Faf de Klerk obviously had a really good game. He is kind of far and away the best number 9 available to the Boks at the moment. He really seems to have lifted his game since his trip to Europe. I don't know what that's done to him, but he definitely seems to have upped his game. And yeah, it is concerning though, having kind of all that reliance on the one guy. Like, you'd like to have a second guy who's not too far below him, but for the life of me, I can't. Is it Cronje? Second choice number 9. He's a bit slow, some guys say, to the breakdown. Fair enough. He is good at kind of, as a running halfback, he can run guys over. He's got a bit of bully about him, but is that his primary job? No. Ambrose Papier didn't get a really whole lot of game time for the Bulls, but he seems to be one that's kind of on the radar as a future prospect. I don't know, man. It's probably not the time to be having this discussion, but either way, Faf de Klerk had a very good game. Malcolm Marx and his turnovers was crazy. Same old stuff from him we're used to seeing. Whiteley and Dutoy with the tackles. Very good work rate from those guys. Etzebeth went 80 minutes, which was impressive. I'm pretty surprised that unless he got subbed late on. I mean, I put a note like in the 70-odd minute. Yeah, he pretty much went the whole game. For a guy to come back from injury and just start a test match and play 80 minutes, kudos to the guy, man. That's impressive. The crowd, I've written a note, wasn't startling. I'm not sure how many Kings Point... Is it Kings Point? The Sharks Stadium. Kings Park? Yeah. I'm not sure how many it seats, but there were quite a few empty ones. I know the Aussie-New Zealand crowd had 60-odd thousand, but that's a stadium which also seats a lot more, although it didn't visibly look as kind of empty in patches as the one the other day. But hopefully for the Aussie and New Zealand games in South Africa, we'll get good turnout there. For the Pumas, obviously Matera, who got a try, had a pretty good game. The loose forwards generally were pretty good. I mean, Kremer as well, putting a lot of hits, a lot of tackles. Sanchez, 100% from the boot, ran the show as best he could, although they were without the ball for a fair bit. Overall, stats were 53-47 for possession to the Boks and 57-43 for territory. So the Pumas did come back into it in the second half. They definitely had a lot more ball than the first half, where they were, kind of down in the 30s. But yeah, not able to do as much with it. I mean, an intercept was kind of against the run of play, so yeah, but a bit concerning there. Although, I mean, when you compare this to the June games, this was a big jump up for the Argentinians. So if you're an Argentinian fan, I think there's things to look forward to from, the reign of Hokart going to Ledesma now. I can't see things kind of slipping back to those dreadful June tests. I can only see it on the way up. The Boks scrum was pretty solid. Probably not quite the same dominance that the All Blacks had over the Wallabies, but yeah, they were definitely getting some pay at scrum time. Like I said, it's just that line out sometimes which needs to be slightly improved. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty entertaining game. Like I said, for a guy who got up at 3 in the morning to watch it, you don't want to be put back to sleep, and it was pretty entertaining. Yeah, what did you guys think of the game? Do either of these teams have a shot against the All Blacks? Because the All Blacks in that second half were pretty impressive. The Springboks definitely got more into this game as the game went on, and that's not an altitude thing at Durban. That was just them kind of gelling and getting together. Dianti had a bit of magic. He really seems to be one for the future. He's here now, but I mean, the guy can only get better with all the experience he's getting. Yeah, having Etzebeth back is great news. Yeah, things looking up. And for the Pumas, like I said, with Ledesma in charge, things seem to be on the right track. It's hopefully only a matter of time before he gets things to really jump up that next level. You guys let me know what you thought of the game. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, both teams finished tackling rate in the 80s, so neither team kind of fell apart, but it was just kind of a ding-dong battle that was not really decided until the final try kind of put it out of touch. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.